Hello. Hi, everyone. How are we doing today? It's summer. It is almost 100 degrees here in Colorado. Monique here from Silver Paw Studio, sitting in my green room, used to be all green, here at Silver Paw Studio, also founder of Pro Pet Photog. And this is our monthly live Q&A. I know summer is very busy for people, but I still want to continue with this monthly Q&A time. Hopefully, this is an okay time for people. It seems to work out well for me. And you're welcome to watch the replay. So, replay viewers, hi. If you're getting a chance to watch this later, I appreciate you as well. During this hour, you can ask me all kinds of things about pet photography. We could talk about gear, marketing, business, actual photography, editing, photography for clients, for rescues, things like that. So this is just a chance, kind of an AMA. Ask me anything. You can ask me about Colorado, uh, whatever you would like. And now let me go through kind of some links that I want to share with you right away before we pop into any of these questions. First of all, obviously, maybe not obviously, I'm not sure. You can always go here to propetphotog.com. Really important website. It's where I've gathered everything that I've made for you over the years. So there's courses and downloads and checklists and Canva templates, and you can schedule a one-to-one with me for whatever you want to talk about for 45 minutes. Those one-to-ones I've gone over for people just opening their doors, people who want me to look through their portfolio, all kinds of different reasons you might need to talk to me privately one to one. And so that is available on ProPet Photog as well. And of course, there's the community center membership. So there's that. We do have a private Facebook group. If you would like to join us there, we talk about a few things in there. If you're on the Facebook, that is a free group. My my poor Instagram page, it is there, but I don't do too much with it. But you're welcome to join me on Instagram. It's a great place to DM me too. I have a podcast. I just recorded today's podcast and popped it up online like an hour ago. So I try to put those out every single Monday morning in 10 episode seasons. So I'll do a 10 episode season, then I'll take a break. So just be watching your podcast apps for the Pro Pet Photog podcast. If you want to get a hold of me directly, it's Monique at propetphotog.com. Okay. Woo! Hello and welcome. That is just kind of all the rundown of different places that you can find me and my content and interact with me depending on your preference. Some people like visual, some like audio, some like to type. I want to cover my bases for you. So go ahead and any point, type in comments, questions, things like that. And the way I've got this set up is over on the side of my screen, I will see your comments. Okay. So if I'm looking off into space, I'm not really, I am reading your questions and comments. So there's that. And if I look over here, I have a second screen. I have like in my office, I have these two 27-inch screens set up. So I'm not distracted. I'm just distracted. Does that make sense? So yeah, at any time you can type in your questions. If you're watching the replay, you can type in your questions in the regular YouTube comments as well, and I will see them. YouTube lets me know when you comment. During a live stream, you can pop out of the chat and still be in the live stream and tap the like button. So that's super helpful to my channel as well. So those are some ways that you can interact with me now or later. And what I try to do is rewatch this later and put in chapters for you replay viewers and anyone who wants to kind of watch this again. I put in chapters to talk about, to show kind of where we were in our conversation. And we do jump around a lot. We might cover something now that we'll cover again in 15 minutes. So just, it's a live stream. So great to see you all. It is our June live stream. Can you believe that? Hey, Patty. Welcome, welcome. And Sunday, like a week ago, Sunday, We got back from our 9-day trip to see family. I went back to the Northwest for the first time in 2.5 years. And it was mostly rainy, as you'd expect, but I had a fun time seeing family there. And then from there, we flew from Portland to San Jose in the Silicon Valley area, saw more family, and then came home and needed a day off. To recover. So no, actually, we got home that Sunday and just both of us hit the ground running on things to do last week. So I have gotten kind of my summer vacation already done. So here I am. Senior Yaxon. Yay. Oh my gosh. It's probably 10 degrees hotter for you in Texas right now. And the humidity right now, it's like 100. So I was at a Pet Expo 5K for the shelter on Saturday, and we actually closed it 2 hours early because it was getting close to 100. It was probably 95. We don't really have humidity here, and we were in the grass, so it was okay. But they'd already done the 5K, and most people were gone, so we shut it down early. And we were just so exhausted. I never take a nap, and I came home and took a 3-hour nap. Oh my gosh, how are you holding up in Texas, Senior Yaxon? I can't even imagine. Like right now, I am doing photo sessions at 7 in the morning, and that is kind of like a really nice time here. So sun has maybe been up for like an hour, hour and a half. I don't know if I can get people to get out there any earlier, or else I would, because I like to get up early. So 7 a.m. sessions help. There's not as many bugs, like mosquitoes. There's not other people out. 7 a.m. on a weekday. That seems to help a ton with the heat. I did one this morning, just a volunteer shoot. I do photos for Havoc, the human animal bond in Colorado. They make these little like trading cards. And so I met someone. I said, let's meet at 7 at this particular park. And I always get there a little bit early, and he was already there. So I was done with that shoot by 7:10 this morning, which was fantastic. Love, love, love those early, early mornings. Let's see. Surprisingly, it's 100 degrees in Houston. So I'm surprised Colorado's having the same temps. I know. You know what's insane is that right now, where my family lives, kind of near Portland, they're having like this atmospheric river, which they never said when I was there. So it's this new term for lots of rain. There's about 100 terms for rain in the Pacific Northwest, and now they just added a new one, and everyone's like freaking out about it. My mom is supposed to have her roof replaced on her house and some trusses, so it's going to take a few days. They've been waiting for 5 days of no rain since November. That's how much rain they've been getting there. She hurried and snuck in her garden seeds the other day, but yeah, they're getting a little bit drenched right now. And so they could just send some our way, right? We could use a cool off, which we're going to get tomorrow, but it's going to come with winds. So I have another 7 a.m. photo session tomorrow that I think is going to be pretty quick. And it's near a big ish lake here. So I hope that the wind doesn't pick up, because it'll be pretty windy at the lake there if it does. But it's not like urgent. So I can always reschedule if I really, really need to. Are you doing the same things in your Axon, where you're doing just really, really early morning shoots, or you just kind of you try to do indoor or put things off? How do you handle the heat and humidity in Houston? Um, it's so dry here. My hair is naturally fairly straight, but oh my goodness, when I was in the Northwest, it's kind of a cold, humid, and my hair is like boing. Oh, look, I've got a little bit of curl in my hair. It was kind of fun. I mean, I lived there for 40 years. You'd think I'd remember some of that, but my hair thought it was fun. It was like so hydrated, and my face was so hydrated in the Northwest. That was kind of nice, actually. Oh my gosh. So that's how I'm running things here at Silver Pot Studio during the summer is we just do 7 a.m. sessions. Actually, I have one set up for this Saturday that we scheduled months ago that I think I put 8 o'clock. And I'm going to see if she can meet me at 6:15, because it gets full morning sun. There's like nothing shading it. And it's a fairly warm place as it is. So I'm going to actually see if I can get away with asking her to be there at like 6:30. We'll see. I'm crossing all my paws. I'm really hoping she can make it out there at 6:30, because otherwise it gets so warm. Yeah. Let's see. Summer late evenings with hats, cold water, and towels. Okay. Yeah, I love evening light too, but the problem is number one, the mosquitoes. And then we've got, and I think, do you have this? Afternoon thunderstorms. So I can't tell you how many summertime sessions I've had to cancel in over the years because, okay, it's looking great, looking great, looking great, and then there's an afternoon thunderstorm. Like, oh no. So I kind of avoid the evening ones, but I do love the light. I know. And it's kind of nice because in the summer you can make it fairly lit, like 8 o'clock. Hello. How do you know when to go from free photo sessions to paying photo sessions? Eos Love says. Let me come back to that. We have Rainbow Pure. Good afternoon. Thanks for having this Q&A. You're welcome. Awesome little profile pic with, I'm assuming, you and your pup there. Love it. Let's see. So, how do I know when to go from free photo sessions to paying photo sessions? I know Patty's got some experience with this right now. She's been setting up all of the legalities and all the things for her business. So, that's part of it. I think Patty would agree is getting everything set up. So, you want to have your business license, your tax ID, things like that, the legalities of all of that, and just have your pieces in place. Like, so one thing to think of that I always say is if someone called you today and said, "Hey, I would love to book you." Would you have a panic attack and go, "Oh my gosh, I can't. I don't have any kind of way for people to pay me. I don't have the right equipment," those kind of things. So if someone were to call you today and want to do a shoot tomorrow, do you have things in place for that? Now, I I don't have to have absolutely 110% of things in place for me to take a job. Um, some things you can kind of figure it as you go, like, oh no, I've never, photographed that breed of dog or that particular location. And those things I'm okay with kind of winging it. I'm going to a lot of new locations this year and I just can't possibly scout all of them. So I'm doing a lot of that right now. But that's a little different than like taking on your very first client. So there's a lot of things like that. And then how comfortable are you with like asking for money and doing the whole business process of that? But the great thing is like you don't have to have a degree in the US to be a photographer. You could just say, I'm a professional pet photographer and go, get the legal things in place for your company. And then you could just go tomorrow. There's nobody out there telling you you have to be at this level to do anything. Everybody starts somewhere, right? So that's what I would say about that. If you have anything more specific in there that you're considering, let me know. Any suggestions on how to make a stand for smaller dogs to stand on for photos? Ah, I love this question. Um, because I might have to, I've been considering this myself. Like, how am I going to I would love to have a platform too in my studio. I rent a studio space, so I can't really like build it in. But I would love to make a platform. One thing I had kind of thought about was taking pallets. Like a lot of companies, the company my husband used to work for, they have pallets in the back, and then like taking the pieces from the back and putting them on the front. But they're only what 6 inches tall or something. So is that enough of a stand? But if you're talking about really small dogs, I have a whole video on making a tabletop studio that's good for cats and small dogs and products. And I can find that on YouTube. I actually have my channel open right now, and I can give you the link. Oh, really? It doesn't say? Oh my goodness. Da, 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 da. I wish I could find that right here. Of course, I've got it sorting a different way. Let me just scroll down and I can get you. I have a couple of videos where I've built this tabletop out of a folding table and some PVC pipes. It is so, so handy. I've used it in so many situations for years and years and years. Actually built a new one this last fall and donated the other one. Sorry, everyone. I'm just looking on my other screen here. Here we go. Here we go. Let me get this shareable link and I will post that in the comments. If I remember, I will also put it in the comments of the actual video. But here we go. I mean, that's just a YouTube link. But what you need to look for is portable photography studio set. If you search for that on this channel, I have that video that I posted recently and then one I posted probably 3 years ago that you could actually build this whole tabletop. Pretty cool. And you don't have to use the exact stuff that I use in there, but you can. Yeah, but I would love to actually build a platform in a studio space at some point too. Patty, wondering if I can make a go of my business on a small budget. I'm experiencing doubts. I guess that's normal. It is so normal. It is really normal to have doubts. Oh, I hope my internet's good. I show only two people online now. Ah, I always tell Steve, please don't stream anything or do anything to the internet while I'm live streaming. So I hope you're all still here. Um, it's really, really common to experience doubt, and one of the things I've noticed too, Patty, is that the longer I'm away from something, the more doubt creeps in. Have you noticed that? Like, if I take a couple of months off of photographing, like at the holidays or something, then I go, "Oh, no, can I even remember how to do this?" So I have that in all areas of my life too. So I totally think you can do this on a small budget. Absolutely. And like the more you do it and the more money you bring in, a little bit bigger your budget can be. Uh, and don't be concerned about doing everything 100% right all the time. People are forgiving. Pet clients are pretty awesome. And, you could in the beginning say, this is my first year of business. I'm super excited. And if you make a little bit of a flub up somewhere, people will forgive you. You're going to have enough meetings with them to really get to know them. And I've actually made a lot of friends out of my clients. So it's been great, but you're going to have doubts. Um, I think that's kind of part of being human, especially when we're about to go over a precipice. And opening your own business is a big deal, right? But it also can be so rewarding. So just tiny steps at a time is what I would say. Don't look at like an entire year's worth thing. Just look at your next client. And for that client, look at the picture you're going to take now and the five pictures you'd like to take. And then, just do the tiny, tiny steps and you will gain confidence the more you do those little steps for sure. I know you're so good with your craft already. So it's this new realm of charging people and going through that whole process. And it's going to be um, nerve wracking in the beginning, like the whole first year, probably. Just so you know. Yeah. And Patty, thank you for answering them. Wise to get your legal ducks in a row, insurance. Yeah. Yay, you're welcome. Meant to type experiencing doubt. Yeah. That I know what you meant. Yeah. You're welcome. If you want more information, let me know. Send your accent. It's showing one watching for a good minute while the messages are coming. I know. Isn't that so strange? I don't know. Maybe it's a YouTube thing. I hope it's not my internet connection. I've got a really good connection, but if we're doing too many things around here, you know how that goes. And there's just two of us. How could we possibly be streaming that much? Lee Iverson, love your content. Oh, you're so welcome. Yay. Let me know if you have any questions, Lee. Oh, Patty, you got this. Every little step you take will help build your confidence, I promise. And do what you can to kind of take the pressure off yourself. Just say, I'm going to start with one client, or I'm going to start with 1 month or 1 year. And if it's too much anxiety, you could go back to doing volunteers, or you could switch things up a little bit. There's always room to grow and expand and contract with our businesses. And the only way you're going to know some of those things is just by kind of doing them. I can't tell you how many different price lists I've had and how many ways to meet my clients and package their orders and what I say to them in a planning meeting and at the photo shoot and the sales meeting. That has all evolved so much over the years. And it's just by every single time you learn something new. Every time you're like, I think I'm going to say that different next time. You know what I mean? Um, so I think you're going to do fine, Patty. Your work is awesome. So you don't even have to worry about that. It's just getting that repetition. I don't know if you've done any of the model calls yet. That could help friends and family and that kind of thing. And just maybe acquaintances, people you know at the shelters, something like that, or camera clubs. If you can kind of get people call it like beta clients and put them through your entire workflow. I did this with my best friend and that was so nice. So maybe you just have someone who doesn't really, isn't obviously going to buy any prints, but they can go through the whole workflow with you. That could help a ton. Just so you can kind of like practice what you're going to say and practice what you're going to say. That can help too. Lee says, "What's your opinions on shoot and burn versus IPS?" Oh, you had to start a big one out of the gate, right, Lee? I am kind of like a lot of the photographers. I think there's number 1, obviously everyone says there's more money to be made with in-person sales. But number 2, I feel like it's a complete experience for our clients. I feel like shoot and burn has a place, like commercial photography. They don't want prints, right? Or if you wanna do, like, a mini session every once in a while, things like that, but I feel like it's like an undone recipe, so it'd be like going to a restaurant and they just give you all the ingredients in a box. I mean, you may as well go to the grocery store. So I like helping people really put it together in their space, and I do offer what people are now calling, like, that hybrid method, where they can get digitals or prints, and I've actually been doing this the whole time. I don't know why the people are saying it's hybrid just now, it's always been hybrid for me. But my clients have the option to buy prints or digitals. Digital comes with print, and then it goes up on their wall. I mean, have you seen the people who used to like frame a CD or like a USB stick? This is what a USB stick looks like on your wall. Now, that said, though, Lee, you could, if you charged well enough and you really had people who were like, you know what, I just want to see this as a slideshow on my digital picture frame or my TV or my computer. If you charged well enough and you felt good enough about it that they were getting a full service and a full finished product, you could go shoot and burn. For anyone watching doesn't know what that means, it used to be that we would photograph and then burn it onto a CD, is what it was called. Burn it to a CD, which these days is mostly like putting up in an online gallery, like a Pixie set or something. And I do that for my volunteer efforts, commercial clients, things like that. But I think it's a fuller experience and you're going to make more money if you price right, because if you don't price these prints right, you're not going to make any money either, right? So you got to do it all right. And actually, Lee, I don't know if you saw, I want to say the Pet Photographers Club is having a webinar tomorrow. I got an email today, but I've been doing some other things. So there could be a webinar tomorrow at the Pet Photographers Club that kind of talks about this same thing. So that would be awesome. I wanted to let people know about that too. So thanks for that. What do you think, Lee? What do you prefer in your business? Patty, waiting for my insurance before I do model calls. Oh, okay. Starting a quote. So hopefully soon. Gotcha. 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 Yeah. I went kind of the easy way on insurance. I just talked to my homeowners insurance people, and they're like, oh, yeah, we have a plan that covers photographers. And so we just had the conversation. I said, okay, this one. And then I just did it. At some point, I'll probably look into that closer. PPA, a lot of people talk about the insurance companies they use there. And so it probably is worth auditing once a year or so and just going, okay, is this still working for me and covers what I need to cover? So I have a couple different types of insurance: the PPA, equipment insurance, and the everything else insurance. So I've got that. Hello. Okay. As a new pet photographer just starting out, any suggestions on how to print the client's photos inexpensively? Well, oh goodness. First of all, you want to just make sure you're at a good lab, and it all is a matter of perspective, I suppose, what inexpensive versus expensive is. I personally do I use a few labs, but my main lab is White House Custom Color, and I think their prices are reasonable. None of them are really like astronomical prices if you ask me. Now, once you get to the album companies, they can vary quite a bit, and part of that is the wedding industry has pushed that to a level that's very expensive if you want to get to that level. But your basic prints, canvas, frame, bamboo, acrylics, metal prints, they're all kind of the same prices, but you just want to take a look at the finishes and what they offer and how you want to price that for your clients. Being inexpensive isn't always the best way to go. So that's what I'm going to say. My like 8x10s that I have mounted on styrene through White House Custom Color cost me $7. And I think that's awesome. I don't sell floppy prints at all. And that's what I tell clients. I only sell them mounted and more like canvas frame bamboo. So that's what I offer to my clients. And I make sure I have a good enough markup on those. So, I started with White House Custom Color and pretty much had everything printed there. Now I have, my canvases printed at Artsy Couture, but I think I did one. I used another lab recently and really liked it. I'm picky about the corners. I want my corners to be crisp, which I didn't think I thought White House didn't have crisp corners on their canvas. I know that sounds funny, but I use White House Custom Color for most of it, and then my albums are at, Fineo. So, there's that. Oh, and another thing is if you're looking at your pricing, I have a pricing recipe video here, but I also do talk about the free tool on Pet Photographers Club, which I'm not part of, but I like all of their stuff and I'm on their email list. And so they have a free calculator for setting your pricing, which is that is eye-opening, I tell you what. Even for an experienced person, you want to go through that calculator like rigorous honesty in there. Yeah. Hi, Marie. Our local city photographer, Jadine Chapman, uses a large ottoman as a stand. Ah, that's a good idea. And actually, I just saw a webinar through PPA. You have to be a PPA member. I think I even paid for it. And yeah, she had a good size. Oh my gosh. I want to say it was like 3x3 or 4x4 ottoman. It was huge. But she never moves it. Like, I want to be able to move things in my studio and have dogs on the floor and dogs up on things. So yeah, but the ottoman is an awesome idea. Mhm. Yeah. Lee says, "Thanks for your take on that, Monique. Well, the reason I ask is I'm just gearing up to get back into pet photography. Whoop whoop. I was all set, then that thing happened that closed the earth down. Right? Ah. Um, yeah, yeah. And so you can do in-person sales also virtually on Zoom. You can do that too. And then you can either I've done it 2 different ways. I really like to have it in person, but I mean, that's not always practical, right? Or if you have people that kind of travel in and they have to go a long ways, it's nice to be able to have virtual. And so you can either both be looking at the same like Pixie set gallery and just have a phone call, or you can do a Zoom call and share screen with your ProSelect. And there is some tutorials out there on how to do that. Because if you use the ProSelect, there is a mirror view where they're not seeing all the back end stuff. They don't need to see that. They can just see a nice clean image or set of images or the room view. So there's ways to actually use ProSelect on Zoom or virtually too, which is really great. Yeah. So if you're having trouble kind of still meeting people in person, that's an option too. But I find that once people see the photos, then they're just like, "Oh, can I get them later?" So what I do is they get a proofing gallery 24 hours before their sales meeting. That helps them decide at their sales meeting. So that has cut my sales meetings from an hour or hour and a half down to like 45 minutes because they've had a chance for all the decision makers to look at it. I always add my price list to that gallery. And if they reschedule their sales meeting, I close down that gallery. So they can't just keep looking at it. So I tell them I'm going to do that. But I give them a little bit of a like not really sneak peek. I call it a proofing gallery. And then we have the in-person sales. I tell you what, I had someone Friday that came to the studio. It was a 20-minute sales session. They spent my ideal average. Bam, bam, bam. They were amazing at making decisions. She's like, "Yeah, I saw them. These are the ones I like. This is how I want it printed. And here we go." So it was great. Get repay for it. Yeah, yeah. So now another one, someone will probably say in here is if you have a really good local printer. I don't here. I have to drive to like Boulder, which is an hour away, and it's just not worth it. If you know a good print shop close by, I mean, that'd be nice too, because then you're supporting local. I just don't have one. So there's that too. And what you'll do is once you kind of narrow down the shops that you want to try, they have you send in photos and they send you back test prints. And I think that's free for most of the labs. If you're looking at like Miller's, White House, H&H Color Lab, those will often say, okay, send me in 3 or 5 images, like different types of images, so they can make sure your color's well, your exposure's good. So when you get the prints back, they match your monitor and what you're expecting. So when you get to the point where you've kind of narrowed it down, I think Patty went through this recently too, is they'll send you some samples of what they offer, and they have like different papers and stuff. So that's a good way to decide too. One thing too that I really like about White House is their turnaround is fairly quick, even these days. And if I have any question at all, they answer me immediately. If I have a problem with a product, I send them a picture and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna reprint it. We're sending it to you overnight," you know? So they're really great customer service. Lee says, I do a lot of shoot and burn, but that's with event photography. Right. I really want to go down the IPS with dog, pet and dog photography. Yeah, event photography is different, right? What I do offer, so when I do my volunteer sessions, what's my hair doing? When I do my volunteer, like for Havoc, the one I did this morning, then what I do is I tell them I'm gonna put these in a pixie set gallery and you'll get the digitals and the organization will get them so you can make your trading cards and that kind of thing. But I'll also have print options available for you. So in my pixie set gallery, I have a whole different small set of prints that they can buy and have them shipped directly. So for those, I can make a few extra dollars. And kind of the event like you're talking about. Yeah, but for all my custom stuff, I'm doing in-person sales for sure. Yeah. That's cool. You know who she is. Yes, I do think having interchangeable props is more fun. What I'd app. I don't know what that means, Marie. I think it auto-corrected on you. Gall darn it. Patty. Yes, I did. I went through a lot of samples. Yes, I'm using 3 different labs for different things. Call me crazy, but there are products alike from each. Exactly. Exactly. And you'll only know that by kind of getting some samples, and getting those back and kind of getting a feel for there's all different ways to order as well. Like when you order through White House Custom Color, you need to use their, well, I think you still do. This is what I do. This whole separate app. Gosh, what's that called? Rose, the Rose system, which a lot of the online shops don't bother with that anymore. You just go to their website and put everything in, which is pretty nice. But you have to download an extra program and set it up. And that can be a little bit of a pain and a learning curve. But yeah, it is. Okay, Rose, you're right. Yeah. I don't even know what that stands for. But I do that for H&H Color Labs and for White House Custom Color. I think they're kind of a little bit of a dinosaur age thing, but it's probably they have their reasons. I don't know. When I order albums, it's completely different. When I order through what's another lab? All the labs have a little bit different. The canvases are different. Yeah. So it's pretty normal to have several different labs. It's kind of funny, but we're artists. We have our things that we like, right? Oh my goodness. Let me know if I've missed any of your questions. I'm kind of scrolling up and down. This has been great. Thank you all so much for your questions. I'm really excited for so many of you, like about to open the doors or in the first stages. Oh, that said, I need to let you know. First of all, you need to be on the ProPet Photog email list. I'm sure you all know that. That's over here at propetphotog.com. Okay, so go do that. But if you're on that, the last few weeks I've talked about, I didn't call it a retreat. You called it a retreat. We're doing the ProPet Photog first ever retreat. It's going to be kind of meetup style. It's not going to be like classroom. We're doing this, this, and this. So I'm going to tailor what we're learning around what you need to know. 8 people is my limit there, and I already have 3 signed up. So you can go to this bit.ly link and you can sign up to come to my free meetup here in Loveland in the end of August 24th, 25th, and 26th. It's the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, a week and a half before Labor Day here in the US. So I'm doing a free retreat. We're going to meet at the studio. I'm going to get a dog model. We'll either do in studio or on location. Kind of depends on the weather because August can be pretty hot. And so we'll see how that goes, whether we do in studio or not, and what all of you want, all of the attendees want. And then we're going to have some business Q&A, whatever you want to talk about. We'll have some lunches that I provide, and it's actually free. So I'm not charging for it this year. I just want to dip my toe in and see how it goes and see if it's something I want to do on an annual basis. So you can sign up to do that if you would like. So I've already got 3 people committed to coming. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. Marie. Whoops. What is app? Where you saw Jadine. I don't think it was Jadine. It was Green Paws, Green Paws Photography. She was teaching through PPA, Professional Photographers of America. So that was one of their spring workshops. So every spring, every fall, PPA has a whole bunch of workshops throughout the country, some online and some in person now. And this happened to be an online one. So I spent a long day staring at the computer watching her classes. Yeah. Ordered some metal from Bay. Love the prints. One was a bit messed up, but they're replacing it. I should get Wednesday. I hope it's okay this time, right? Yes. Yeah, it's nice when they will just fix it right away. It's so great, especially with places like Bay. They've been around a long time. So yeah, and then Marie, which Pro Select version do you have? I have the Pro, whatever the newest one is. I lease it so every month, and so I just update it when I need to. I don't use all the bells and whistles. I love the room view, and otherwise, I just like to put all the products in there and my prices. And oh, I can kind of show the frames, but I only really offer one frame, so there's that. But the room view is really awesome, and they just add up all the tax for everything for you. The receipt comes out with little thumbnails of each image. So I do have the Pro version, which is, I don't know, $50 a month or something like that, which sounds expensive when you're starting out. I understand that. And there is a way that you could buy out a copy of it if you want to, which is fine too. But you're going to make money using that program. There are other ways that you could sell if you don't have ProSelect or you just don't want to use it. There's a couple of like iPad apps that are very similar, although those have crept up in price too. And then you have to have an internet connection when you use those, which isn't always practical. And then, oh yeah, PPA. And then some people, they just use like Lightroom and you do the star system or a flag system. So you could just go through Lightroom or you could go through your Photos app and just kind of show them one at a time and then just write it down. So, I mean, you could definitely do that. Some people are even still doing 4x6 prints, but I like to be able to zoom in and show people bigger. So yeah. Yeah, PPA. So I'm seriously considering going to imaging next year, which will be back in Nashville, Tennessee. So I might go back. I don't know. I didn't go this year. Why? Oh, Omicron. Yucky. So my paws are all crossed that maybe I can get down to imaging in January. It kind of depends on some projects that may or may not be happening. Construction projects. So we'll see on that. And I can't really say more about that yet because I'm getting too excited about it and I don't know if I'm really going to do it. But if I do, you all will definitely hear about it because it's going to be big and huge and awesome. And I'm so excited about it. Okay. Oh, I forgot. I had a screen share up for you all. If you want to see what the registration looks like. Where did I even put that tab? Oh my goodness. Here it is. Okay. So if you go to that bit.ly link I showed you, this is what it'll be. It's basically a contact form. And so it gives you a little bit of information about the event and what to expect and what to not expect, and then your information. And this is where you say, yes, I am absolutely coming. I just don't have any other like superficial way to do this because it's kind of meetup style. So even though there's not a fee for this, you have to do all this other stuff, traveling, you got to take care of your travel. So, and some of this is just so I can kind of establish what I might want to teach you or provide for you, like studio versus on location versus just more time doing business stuff or marketing or, whatever else you might want to do. I am within 45 minutes of Estes Park, Colorado, which is the gateway to Rocky Mountain National Park. So if you wanted to take a longer weekend, that's an incredible place to visit as well. And once you pledge and put in your pledge to attend, I will send you a follow-up email saying, here's some hotels close by. And I actually have a friend who has a B&B bedroom, but she's in the next town over. So it's like 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes to get to my studio. It's a nice straight shot, but that's an option too. Marie, that's so cool. I want to invest in ProSelect, but I might start with the basic. Oh yeah, I've been using Lightroom or just the Windows Image View. There you go. There you go. Oh my gosh, if it's working for you, it's working for you. I just I've used it for so long, I'm a little bit spoiled, okay? I like that I can put all my products in there, all my sizes, click add to cart, it'll figure out the taxes and everything, and I can go in and change things around, it'll add it all up, and, we could split out payments. I can say, "Okay, they paid half now," and know exactly how much, and I don't know. I could do all that in QuickBooks, I know. Or Square or whatever it is that you use. I just have QuickBooks as my little card reader as well. So, that's kind of what I'm doing at this point. Since we're on here and we're only gonna have, gosh, 1 more Q&A before maybe 2 more? Well, 1 more that you can actually sign up for the retreat. If there's any questions about the actual retreat, now's a great time to ask me in person as well, or you can obviously send me an email too, Monique@propetphotog.com. Um, oh, I have some notes. Okay. Oh, I also so we talked about, I don't remember the details, but if you go to the Pet Photographers Club, I think it's called, they're having, some kind of a pricing, I think it's them, webinar this week. And then I don't know if you've seen it, but this last week, I don't know, it might be too late. But Hair of the Dog with Nicole Begley, and she's got some other people working with her. They're doing a whole thing on commercial photography and all the different ways. There's a lot to know for commercial photography. So they're doing a free kind of like 1 week thing, which it might be over now. They had a bonus day today, but they're doing a bunch of classes coming up, I believe, on doing commercial photography, kind of adding that into what you offer your community. So those are a couple other ways to learn outside of what I teach you. So those are like the two main places you can learn anything anyway, is the Pet Photographers Club, Hair of the Dog, and me. So there's not a lot. PPA has a little bit. Um, I think I told you I applied to speak at Imaging next year, but I applied 2 weeks too late. So, I've never heard back from them and I don't expect to. But I think they could use some new people speaking about pet photography at PPA. So we'll see what I do in subsequent years. I'm not sure. Oh gosh. So we've got that coming up. What else? What other questions do y'all have for me? What time do we have? Oh, we have 15 minutes left of this live stream. I keep it at 1 hour. I want to honor your time and your commitment to being here. So I appreciate you all being here. Let's see, make sure there's no other questions here. What else did I have to tell you? I'm kind of curious, like, what you're thinking of my POV style videos. Last week I did a video, and feel free to interrupt me on this. Just go ahead and type your comments. I'm just gonna give you some updates. My YouTube videos are often just a behind the scenes of what I'm doing. And I do plan out some of them, obviously, but some is just like, oh, I have this opportunity to do this thing. Maybe they'll let me film it. So I'm very assertive that way. Like, I have no fear. Like, I was at a big, not a big, but I was at one of those Pet Expo 5Ks last this weekend, and I filmed it for you. And I had everybody, there was like 15 people at the next booth over staring at me as I talked to my little camera. I didn't care. Like, so I'm going to show you my booth setup for that, which is fun. I've been putting my GoPro on the top of my camera at every session lately. I think I've missed 2. And I didn't do any today. It was just such a 10-minute session. But I've been putting my GoPro on there when I do things because I was like, okay, I just ask them when I get there, hey, do you mind if I get some footage, mostly for social media? But if I want to make it into a video for you, I just contact them again and say, hey, can I use some of that footage for this video? And some people give me, permission ahead of time, like the one with the just all the distractions and the row of flowering trees. I asked her ahead of time, so that was all fine. But what are you thinking of the POV videos? This last one about Aloha, kind of summer themed photos. It was all that, all POV. So I've got a ton of footage. I'm just curious, what are you thinking of what I've been showing lately? I had another client who's okayed me to show her session, which is going to be a 2-part video. One part of her 15-year-old deaf dog on a paddleboard, And then the other one with her like 5-year-old blind and deaf dog in a field. So she okayed me showing both of those sessions. They were the same day, but I'm going to break them up into 2 videos. But she hasn't seen her images yet. We had to postpone her sales meeting due to a variety of reasons. So I cannot show you that video, and because it'll have final images from her session. I want her to see them first. I'm excited to show you those sessions and give you some tips for photographing dogs on pedal boards and blind and deaf dogs, that kind of thing. Yeah. And I had another client that wants photos of her dogs on paddle boards. And I said, listen, maybe we can do that in August because I'm pretty booked if I can film it. So, one of my goals is to bring my kayak to a session and photograph from my client a dog in the water and on a paddleboard. So, I might be able to make that happen with her little mini Aussies. We'll see. So, curious what you're thinking of the most recent content. And if you have any requests, special requests. Is there something you would like to see? I know there's some ongoing topics that I just have not been able to film yet, like my entire sales process. So I've talked to Frank about maybe getting together and kind of doing something that's a little bit scripted for that. Not scripted, but just like it's not a full actual sales meeting because that would be tough to do, right? But I've talked to him about doing that too. By the way, Frank will be at the retreat. So if you come to the retreat, you will meet Frank. Yeah. What do you got here? Oh, you're welcome. There's not a lot of resources, is there? Your uncle's a professional photographer since the 80s. Nice. He knows nothing about pet photography. Yeah, it's a fairly new genre, honestly. And I think it was on Hair of the Dogs podcast. They were talking about that too. Just like it's only really been the last 10 years for photographers. And then our clients feel like they're just now hearing about it. Like when you go out and about, or if you tell someone I'm a pet photographer, they're like, you are? That's your whole gig? Like, so it's this whole like gotta get the word out to the world in general. Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome though. Senior Jackson, what do you think about leasing studio space for your own photography, but also renting out the space to other photographers on an hourly slots? Um, so I've considered that, but for me, I find that I'm very particular about my space, and I will lend my space to photographers that I know already, like camera club people, that kind of thing. But I have too much of my equipment in there, and I also have all of my artwork up. And so, I think you're in the Facebook group. I would ask somebody's in the Facebook group that shares a space. And so it might be Lisa. What they do is they just in their entry area or the client meeting area, in the client meeting area, there everyone has temporary art up. So you put your art up when you're meeting a client, and then you take it down and put it in like a closet or take it home for the next photographer. So there's that. So when those photographers come in, they have access to all your stuff. So you've seen my studio. My stuff is just like I don't have it in locked closets or anything like that. Um, so you got your things up there. And then if they want to display any photos, then it's not really your brand. And then watch a video by, oh my goodness, what is his name? Um, I can't remember his name. He does mostly models and commercial photography. But he did a video not too long ago about that kind of thing. Like he rented a really big space, and the idea was he would have it for his, and he would also rent it out to these people doing big productions. He said it was a giant headache because they would leave a big mess. He would get stuff stolen. He'd get stuff broken. I'm not saying your clients, that are going to rent that will do that. Um, and it just ended up being a mess, and he had to repaint all the time because everything would scuff up the walls. He'd have to be there a lot. He'd have to hire cleaning crews after they left. It was really a mess. I think if you had when I first got my studio space 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was sharing it with another person. And so she would have it we had like a little calendar. She never really used it actually. That's why I ended up with it. But the idea was there was just the two of us. So we split the rent down the middle. And so I think that might be a better way to go, honestly. Um, Just after watching his video, oh my gosh, that sounded like a big headache. If you're talking about, like, insurance and cleaning and oh my goodness, that may not go over so well, but it's possible, and it'd be really expensive because if you look at those co-working studios, you're in a big city, so have you seen those co-working studios where they have, like, 2 or 3 studio spaces, then maybe you have office spaces, and it just, like, that's your whole business is to be a person overseeing this co-working space. So I don't know, Senior Yaxon. Ah, what you might be able to do is what my friend Tara Patty does. She has Spring's pet portraits. If anybody's on the PPA forums, you know Tara Patty because she's in there all the time. She's amazing. And she has a pet photography business in her dog's daycare. So a few years ago, she'd always rented her own commercial space. But a few years ago, she noticed that her dog's daycare place had an extra corner. And she's like, you know what? I want to do more dog photography. She has like two brands, people brand and the dog brand. And so she just talked to them and said, hey, there's a space in your building that you're not using. Can I rent it? And they're like, sure. And she says it's gone great since then. So if the place that you do a lot of that work with has a whole extra space, maybe they could just lease that out to you and just like you'd section it off and you get that. They're already used to having dogs there. It might be worth it. I know a dog trainer in town, and she kept buying these, units. She's up in more of a industrial area because dog training, right, can be chaotic and loud. So you kinda have to be off in those industrial type spaces. She kept buying units, and so I almost rented a space from her, but she's a good, like, 40 minutes, away, and it was just a little bit more than I can afford plus a build out of my studio. But dog trainers sometimes will have extra space as well, and they're always looking for alternative income streams too, potentially. So sometimes the training facilities also have extra space. So I would look around more at stuff like that personally, unless you have like an amazing inn and a good deal on a huge space that you can afford even if no one rented it. There's that. Patty says, I'm looking into seeing about renting a space where I board my dog. I may not have the budget for it yet. Yeah. I know. I've been so nervous this summer because last summer my studio rent raised 40% overnight. And so I've been just getting like all kinds of anxiety because when I went out of town and came back, I went to the studio and the management company signs were gone. And I was like, "Oh no. Oh, please no." And it's exactly a year ago. "Oh, I hope you're all here." It's showing 0 people. We do have like 9 minutes left, so I'm just gonna keep going. And so I messaged them right away. I was like, I noticed your signs are gone. Are we changing management groups?" And they messaged me back right away, like, no, no, no. And it looks like maybe they did some painting. So maybe they just painted and took down the signs. And so then I thought, okay, I'm going to email them though and see if they're going to raise the rent this summer because they did it last summer with zero. Oh, thank you, Senior Yaxon. They did it with no like warning. It was just the day before the 4th of July weekend. They said, okay, by the way, here's your new rent effective in 30 days. And now I'm lucky I have a month to month rent. I don't have like a 3 or 5 year lease with triple nets and all that. So it's not a bad deal. But a 40% increase overnight? Eek. That was rough. Okay, thank you. Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you. It's gotta be a YouTube glitch, right? Um, so that's a concern, right? So when you go to rent a place, they can say at any moment, like, okay, now we're not going to allow dogs. They're going to have breed restrictions, or they're going to add more to their triple net, which is like garbage and internet services and things like that. Or we're just going to raise it 40% overnight because everybody else is doing it. So why not? So he did email me back and he says, no, 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 we're not raising rent in August. I'm like, that was very specific. We'll see. But if you go to PPA's website, they have when they do every couple of years, they do a survey on how much money people make, and they'll ask you, "Do you rent a studio space? Are you home based?" Because they want to see the difference because your averages should be different because your overhead's so much higher when you rent a studio space. Ugh. So I'm trying to work on a different thing, but we'll see. It's also going to be very expensive. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I won't have any reveal for you at this point, probably for another month or so, if I can do anything different than the studio space I'm doing now. But it would not go into effect for a while still. So Another place I thought of is downtown Loveland, the town I'm in. The Cat Cafe is building a space that should open soon, and behind them, there's an open space that they're not renting to anybody. And we've tried for, I don't know, 4 months to try to get a hold of this guy. Well, she's said, "Hey, can you call Monique and see if she could rent that space?" And he never has. So it can be really difficult to keep in touch with these commercial um, management companies. They're just, I don't know. They're going after the big fish, apparently. This is just like a small space to them. But being downtown would probably be more expensive. So I'm always looking. I'm always looking. Oh my goodness. What else did I want to tell you? I had a lot of other things that we could talk about, but we're almost out of time, so I'm not even going to bother going into those. I doesn't look like anyone said anything specific on a video that you're looking for right now or information you need for your business that I can make a whole video on that would help others too. So I'll just kind of keep going down the list of all of the ideas that I have. I have always all kinds of ideas for YouTube. I'm a little bit obsessed. Steve and I have a YouTube channel, my husband, called Cattail Chronicles. So if you are interested in wildlife and nature photography in Colorado and beyond, we have a hoot. We're almost at our 1 year mark on Cattail Chronicles, and it's growing like mad. So check that out if you're interested in going and seeing another YouTube channel that I'm on. I head up all the video. He's a pretty shy guy. He'd rather just like stand there and take the picture of the mountain kind of a thing, you know. But he's with me on this crazy adventure over on Cattail Chronicles as well. I'm watching for your comments, but I want to go through some of these things again at the end here. Remember to check out all the resources I have on propetphotog.com. I am having like a mini business retreat with another business friend of mine this summer, and I'm brainstorming a little bit more to go in there. Here's our Facebook group. Okay, do that. Instagram. My podcast. I just put out a new episode today. Here's how you can get to me directly, Monique at propetphotog.com. And if you're interested at all in the retreat, there are only 5 spaces left. So there's that. So I want to let you know all that. What do we got over here for comments? Let's see. Saharan dust is starting tomorrow. Hopefully nothing gets in my camera sensor. What is that? Like, are you having a dust storm there? Ah, I don't know what that means. Oh, or is those dust, those colorful dust pictures people take of dogs? That would be cool. Yeah, but no, you don't want dust in your camera, right? You're welcome. Yeah. Although I don't know what brand you have. I would highly suggest, I think you have Sony Pro Support. It's like $100 a year. And oh man, has it come in handy this year. Whoa. We've had gear cleaned, we had gear fixed, inspected, things like that. They pay for the shipping. So if you're Sony, I know the other brands have them too. Sony Pro Support. If you've got more than 2 pieces of equipment, it's totally worth it. Yeah. All right, we got 3 minutes left if anyone wants to slide in a last question or comment, but make sure that you follow all of us everywhere, because we're kind of, we have great communities, right? Right here, as you can see in the comments here on YouTube. The Facebook group is really kind and open as well. So I really invite you to join those things as well. We're all wonderful in there. It's mostly affecting the Southeast in the States. Oh, okay. So be careful. Yikes. I don't even know how you would handle that. I've done a fair amount of photography on windy beaches in Washington State. It's always windy and cold and, the sand. But these mirrorless cameras are a whole different beast when you're trying to get the dust out of them. That's in regular like DSLR days where they can handle a little bit more of a beating. Ooh, that sounds rough, Senior Yaxon. Oh, I should tell people too. He has a YouTube channel here. If y'all, for those still here, click on his name and follow Senior Yaxon because you'll see some of his sessions and hear the best dad jokes. So there's that too. Oh my goodness. Well, it's so good to see you all. I hope you're having a great summer or you have a great summer planned for your personal life and your dog's life and your business life. I just hope all the best for you. You put in so much effort. You do. And you care. This is just such an amazing genre to be in. Just a awesome business model. Like, I always tell people I have the best job ever. You have the best job ever. It really is true. Your dogs are not going to complain about a hair out of place. They're just going to have a great time. We've just really hit the jackpot with this, but there's so much to learn and so much to know. So thank you all for coming together here and all talking and helping each other. It warms my heart. I have to say, it really does warm my heart. So thank you all for being here. And don't forget my sign off. Okay. You're all going to say it with me. I've been slacking on this on a lot of the regular produced videos lately, but here we go. Are you all ready to say it? Are you ready to say it? Okay. As always, I wish you many woofs, purrs, and TREATSs, just in case your dog is listening. Yeah. All right. So good to see you. I'll see you in all the other places and in the email, and have a super, super week, no matter where you are. Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye.